right. Hi, Nicolas. Thanks for joining us. It's really great to have you on the show.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to share a few views about innovation.
Great. So if we get started, you're without a doubt one of the best known corporate innovators in Europe. But could you perhaps start by telling a little more about yourself for those of our listeners who aren't yet familiar with you?
All right. Basically, I've been helping Orange employees to become entrepreneur. That means helping those who have an innovation idea for Orange to transform it into a business for Orange with the help, with the sponsoring of a business unit. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing this for 3 years. And based on this experience, I wrote a book which is called The Intrapreneur Factory, which collect 40 return of experience from various companies, and also shares 20 innovation stories from entrepreneurs. And since the beginning of the year, I've moved to an additional mission, which is to boost innovation in Orange Africa countries. It means 20 countries. And basically, it's about detecting innovative projects. Once they are implemented, to replicate them from one country to another, to spread them like a virus. Concretely to this innovative project, to set up innovation devices, innovation organization in the Orange Africa countries, to repeat this kind of mechanism. So it includes cooperation with startup, intrapreneurship, internal innovation, and so on. And to help me on this, I have a strong device, which is a community of 20 innovation champions in Orange Africa countries, which are in the field to boost this innovation project and this innovation devices.
Cool. What kind of projects are you currently having underway?
So right now I am helping 4 countries: Mali, Ivory Coast, Senegal, and Burkina Faso, design their innovation organization, from ideation to exploration of ideas, testing the ideas through experiments, and then preparing the exploitation by the Orange department, or with in a cooperation with a startup or with a partner. I have also set up with this community a kind of innovation radio. It's a bi-monthly call with the 20 innovation champions. And for this call, I prepare some testimonials, and I have guests in the show to share the experience about innovation. So right now I'm preparing the next call with the participation of the Total Innovation team, Total the whole company, and they will share how they boost innovation project at early stage.
Very cool.
I've also started to work on a post-crisis plan for Orange Africa, sorting out how we should adapt current Orange services to reflect on the emerging usage of that has risen during the crisis, and also to see if there are opportunities for new services based on what we have experienced during the crisis.
Very cool. Obviously a timely topic, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that a company like yours can do on that front, like given obviously your scale and your presence across the globe. So if you look at some of the challenges that you have in trying to expand the innovation work in the organization to all these new countries, and what kind of challenges are you seeing there?
Basically, if you go to Africa, you might see a poster which is called, which shows, or on which is written, Africa is not a country. And we Europeans have a tendency to consider Africa as a country. But obviously it's a continent, and
Yeah.
there are many countries. So it's a little bit the same for boosting innovation at Orange Africa. It means handling 20 countries concurrently. And naturally, they don't have all the same time frames, the same expectation, and the same synchronicity. I'm only one person to do that. So I have to manage the time and to see which country are the most willing to advance, and then to see how we can have the rest of the countries joining. That's the main challenge, to challenge the synchronicity of those 20 countries and ensure that they are all moving. We are all moving together in the same innovation direction.
Yeah. I think like in each of the countries, you mentioned that you have champions in place. So would you mind going a little deeper there and tell how the organization or how you built the organization in terms of innovation?
You mean in the countries?
Yeah.
So the champion has been named 1 year ago, and of course he has a main responsibility about being the entry point of contact for what we call central innovation, coming from the tech innovation division, mainly based in France. It's a more traditional way of delivering innovation based on the evolution of technologies and the incremental innovation that we want to do on the product and services in place, whether it is 5G or IoT or financial services with Orange Money. But at the same time, the innovation champion is in charge of this bottom-up innovation, local innovation, and it's mainly focused on detecting new projects, innovation projects that are addressing local needs, and also setting up innovation organization that will help to repeat this process and develop further projects. For us, really a flagship project of what we call a bottom-up or local innovation is Orange Money. So it's a service based on the mobile. It took birth because African people don't have access at 100% to bank account. Only 20% have access to bank account. So one operator in Kenya had the idea to use a mobile device to enable money transfer, money payment with an associated money account, but without the necessity of having a bank account. So it's not like the new banking services in Europe, like Revolut or TransferWise or Orange Bank in France, which leverage of pre-existing bank account or which enables you to create a new bank account. With Orange Money, there is no bank account. There is a money account associated with your telecom account, and it leverage a very basic technology with SMS, with texting. And so it's a service that really make a transformation on people's life, the way to transfer money, the way to pay for your bill. but it doesn't use a particular high-end technology. It's a really low-end technology. And this is the kind of local innovation that we're looking for, that makes a human impact, but doesn't require especially a huge technological investment.
Yeah, really cool. Those kinds of opportunities to use the technology that's already proven to actually solve the problems that people have in their day-to-day are obviously
exactly
really great.
And Orange developed this service over the 18 countries, and we have reached now 40 million people who have once used the Orange Money service.
Wow, that's cool. If we switch gears a bit and go into the role of these innovation champions, you obviously work with many of them, and many of our listeners are in a role very similar to what the champions are doing within your organization. So could you share perhaps what you've seen the best champions do and how they approach their role and what their key capabilities are?
In this kind of entity where the innovation organization is quite new, I think that the challenge is first to integrate, to make innovation legitimate rather than to succeed. So you will succeed after, but the first challenge is to integrate and get recognition for your process. That's another lesson I have in mind. If innovation is exploration of new market, new ideas, when you speak about corporate innovation, you have to keep in mind what comes next, which is the exploitation. How will the internal department or business unit appropriate the ideas that you have scouted, that you have explored, to further transform it into a business. So another way to say it, autonomy is very necessary at the beginning for ideation and fast experiment. But then you have to, concretely, you have to take care of the strategic alignment of innovation and foster collective work, cooperation with the different stakeholders, with the business unit within the company. I have developed this in the rapid innovation model and on my blog rapidinnovation.fr. And this is also something that I stress on with the innovation champions. And during the innovation process we have designed from ideation to exploitation, we integrate, we include business unit and departments from the beginning. Sometimes they are the problem holders. You know, ideation is focusing on solving problem that people have. It can be our customers, but it can be also business unit. And so they become they start as a problem owner, and then they become the idea and the product owner for the innovation that goes through the process.
Mm-hmm. If we go a bit more in depth on that topic, you're obviously a very experienced practitioner of intrapreneurship and innovation in large companies. So what are the other top lessons that I guess you'd wish you'd known when you first started nearly 20 years ago on this front?
Well, it's a little bit like I said, autonomy is key. But you have to keep close contact and cooperation with the core company if you want to prepare the further exploitation in the company. This is true for innovation labs that look for open innovation or digital transformation or internal innovation, like I mentioned. Of course, this is less true for disruptive innovation labs, like Google X, or you have one disruptive lab in France, which is called Camet. It's a subsidiary from the insurance company AXA. Those labs are looking for a completely new business line, new business unit. And you might say that cooperation with the Corco is less their focus. They want to highlight or they want to develop their autonomy mainly. What I'll say also is a lesson that I've learned during the last 3 years of entrepreneurship program. Besides this commitment of the core company, which can take the form of business unit commitment or sponsorship at the high level of the entrepreneurship program, there is a third lesson, which is the coaching of the innovation project and of the entrepreneur. Sometimes you can make a mistake because entrepreneurs show a very strong determination, but you can make a mistake and thinking that they know how to handle an innovation project, that they have learned their lesson reading the Lean Startup and the design thinking document and so on. But this is not always true. And so you have to coach the people closely so that they really follow this test and learn in short cycles approach that is developing both in design thinking and in Lean Startup. Because sometimes they can fall into the mistake, which is falling in love with your product and forgetting who your user targets are and what they need and how you can help them. Especially for engineers, it's nice to develop your product, to add features and to make it more and more beautiful. And you can in this way sometimes forget what the customer really needs and how you have to move into this direction fast to be ahead of the competition.
I think that's certainly something that, like when we first started 7 years ago, that's certainly a mistake we also made ourselves and something that we learned from back then. So I think that's spot on. Well, given the times that we're living in now with the current COVID-19 crisis around the world, you briefly mentioned that you're already looking at certain opportunities that the crisis may spawn for you as a company. But how would you say that the crisis has impacted your work personally and Orange in general? Have you had to make any significant changes in the way you work at the moment, or?
Almost all Orange employees all over the world, so it's over 150,000 employees are now working at home. So of course, I was a little bit used to it with the African Innovation Champion community because I don't travel to Africa every week. But still, of course, it's a kind of lack of human relationship. It's a lack in the human relationship with this teleworking. Except for the exception is with the network technician who are still on the field and who under the risk of the virus and to maintain the network in good shape, which is all the more necessary right now for this telework to be alive. In the innovation field, we are looking, as I mentioned, to adapt our service to help our customers. So, for example, in Africa, we are sorting out the relevant health information and channeling it through My Orange which is the customer care, customer relationship application on mobile. So we use this channel to leverage to spread the relevant and verified health information. And also we help our partner in the field, startup and Fab Lab, and we foster them to adapt their service or use their infrastructure, for example, to build protection material and ventilators with 3D printing or laser shape. We have an example of several startups which are enrich a platform to help health professionals to get support and material locally. So there is this immediate response to the crisis, and it can be internal use of Orange assets like My Orange, or it can be in cooperation with our innovation ecosystem.
Right. If we then look at what the crisis means for corporate innovation in general now, but also in the longer term, do you see any like shifts there, or how do you see that?
I think that the future will probably not be limited to going back to normal after crisis. Mm-hmm. There are some usages that will last, and then you have to adapt your service. And on the other hand, the focus after crisis might be very well on getting revenues back. And so some activities, maybe innovation and the others, might be put on hold. So for this, at least for these two reasons, you have to fight to keep innovation alive, to support new services and to prepare the future. And you need to check if your innovation organization is well set and adapted to the next environment. And this, in my opinion, you have to prepare it now. You have to prepare it now so you can be ready when we get out of the crisis, and especially in the work at home period. And so therefore, I have developed a short tool, a self-assessment of your own innovation organization, which goes through an online questionnaires, which take you across 10 key areas. And for each area, you have a set of questions, and you can position yourself according to this question. And at the end, you have a score on these different areas, which show you where you rank, and a few pieces of advices, a few suggestions to help you improve your innovation organization resilience. And it can apply to any kind of innovation project, whether you are leading open innovation, participative innovation, or intrapreneurship, or digital factory, or internal innovation. You've tried the questionnaire.
Yes, I did.
You've run it.
Yes, I did. I think it's really cool. It's like covers all of the different sides of the innovation puzzle, basically, and really helps you kind of like think about if you've like how your organization has looked at all of those different facets of the puzzle. So I think it's really something that I would recommend our listeners to also give a try.
Thank you. And it's actually quite fun to run.
Yeah, certainly. And it doesn't take too long, and then it provides you with a lot of like food for thought in these kinds of times when you're trying to plan for the resiliency of your organization. I think that's something that you've also written about recently is like the importance of resiliency as a key consideration for innovation organizations, and now is obviously as important a time for that as ever. So could you share your thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, well, to show innovation is resilient, I think so you have verify if your organization is well set into the corporate organization. An additional way to show it is to adapt your goals for the innovation endeavor. And again, it's about strategic alignment. Will the innovation device or organization be focused on spotting the flaws within the corporation that the crisis has revealed, and find out solution and inventing new ways of doing things, basically using a 100% digital approach? Another way for innovation, another focus might be to seize opportunities which cater usages and the work or organization that have been emerging during the crisis. Last challenge, it might be to sort out what needs to be accelerated and what needs to be reduced in the innovation strategy and in the overall strategy of the company. I think this way, when you show that innovation is completely in line with the current business and a necessary tool to go in the right direction, you show that the value of your innovation that you can bring to the company.
Yeah, so that's obviously like what you need to do if you like if your organization is looking to cut innovation budgets and like focus on saving on that area, then you really need to prove your value to try to preserve your current budget and to like hopefully convince everybody that innovation is what you need to come out of the crisis stronger than before.
Exactly.
I think that's a great place to kind of like start to wrap things up. But before we do, is there anything else that you'd like to add and any kind of tips or helpful recommendations that you would give our listeners, especially in these very exceptional times that we're currently living in?
Yeah, I think that in innovation, we are kind of used to difficulties and hurdles along the way of developing an innovative project. It never works as a plan. According to the plan that we have designed, you know. So you can plan everything, and there are always surprises on the way of innovation. So it's very important to have this rebound state of mind to be able to detect opportunities out of difficulties and to iterate and in some cases to pivot. And so this state of mind for rebound, I think this is something that definitely we can leverage for our company and for our society, and to see out of this crisis what are the opportunities that we can exploit to build a brighter future.
Mm-hmm. That's a very positive note to end on. I would really like to thank you again for taking the time, Nicolas. It's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. Stay safe and best of luck for your next projects.
Thank you. See you soon.